Being a CTO or a CTO of engineering is such a lonely position. Rarely do you have any real peers in the company you can talk to. But you do not, and you should not, go it alone. In this video, I want to talk to you about the different support systems that you've got in order to ensure that you don't burn out, that you continue growing, that you don't have so many pitfalls that it's so easy to fall into when you don't have any feedback, when you don't have anyone else helping you ensure that what you're doing makes sense. Let's go over the top ways that I recommend for tech executives to remain in connection with the outside world and ensure that you have the support you deserve. If you're new here, I'm Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive consultant, and as you'll find, many of the support systems we're going to talk about are things that I have been doing for a lot of my clients over the years, which is why I can attest to how well they work. And right off the bat, let's start with the easiest one, yet the one that I think is so often neglected nowadays, and that's reading. Yes, I'm a bookworm. According to Goodreads, I read 38 books in 2024. Yet I honestly believe that books allow us to leverage the experience of others very fast and in a way that actually makes us think very differently. Reading a book is not as mindless as just sitting in front of YouTube like you're doing right now and enjoying another quick video. It actually makes you think, especially if you're doing it actively. If you're sitting down, taking notes, if you're ensuring that you're not just reading line by line, but you're thinking about how can you apply this? What do you agree with? What do you not? What's surprising to you? You can learn so much more. If you look behind me, you'll see that at least one of the books I'm currently reading is a book whose first edition went out before I was born. I really believe in trying to read both the old things that still hold up, because if they held up for so many decades, they've got a bunch of good stuff in them, and also reading some of the new stuff. Well, you can see my books over there because, yeah, I do believe those can help you as well. When you have this right balance and when you read, you can, again, learn from others so much more quickly and in a way that's a lot more profound than just listening to a talk in a convention or reading another Medium article. It really helps you grasp a few concepts deeply. So you don't have to read 38 books a year. Even if you just decide to read one book a month and you spend that time, you make the time to read as you're commuting or 15 minutes before you go to bed or whatever, make that a habit. You're going to see it helping you so much because you'll see so many of the issues you've got are not just yours, and so many of the things you're struggling with, others have struggled with in the past. Your problems are not unique and you can learn from others. That's amazing. It's extremely cheap and it can really help you build your own expertise and pattern recognition once you've started accumulating your books and learn from them. And you don't have to read them cover to cover. This is not a school assignment. You can read the things that you find more interesting and leave the book aside for when it's more relevant. Try and pick books you're excited to read, not just, the books that you see on lists everywhere and you feel like I ought to read them, but something that you actually pick up and you think, I want to read this. This sounds like it can really help me. Pick a few of those and get started. Next, for your support systems, I highly recommend finding a community. When I found a community for consultants globally, it really helped me during the worst parts of my career and helped me get to things I never even thought were possible, because I got to talk to so many peers and see what they were going through, what their lessons are, and we could hand one another some support in a shoulder to cry on if needed. Don't get me started about what we went through in COVID. Now, there are a bunch of different communities. Like if you're looking locally, you can find some. If you're here in Israel, let me know and I can connect you to a few. If you're looking for it globally, there are some amazing Slacks and different sorts of communities you can join. Some of them have some meetups from time to time. And I think those are really helpful if you want to partake in some ongoing discussion, even if you don't have anyone close you can talk to right now. And I think that if you go to these communities, again, it can really help you learn, but also it has the amazing capacity of ensuring you're not alone. Immediately, you have people you can reach out to, and once you start being active in the community for a while, you can really find some new friendships, and you can really build something that will help you tremendously. Some of the people I've been talking to the most over the last few years are people from my community, who some of them I only met in person a handful of times or never, yet we share everything, we talk a lot, and it's been really, really helpful. Find a community. It's one of the most amazing and, again, cheap things the internet has got to offer for you when it comes to support systems. Breaking for a second from the cheaper options, maybe you want to invest yourself this year and ensure that you're getting all you can get and grow as fast as you can. That's where coaching comes in real handy. Of course, I'm biased, but I have seen so many people make tremendous leaps with just a few months of coaching, and things that, for years, literally for years, they've been struggling with become solved so quickly just because they made the decision to invest in themselves and they had some good help going on. And this is brought to you by this week's sponsor, me. If you want to check a bit about my coaching offerings and how I can help you, check out my email and my website in the description. But irregardless, I do think that coaching can really help you get that boost of experience, especially if you're starting a year where you're going to have to grow a lot because you can see the challenges coming up against you ahead. Or instead, if you're spotting that this is a good opportunity, things are going well, might as well invest in myself right now so I'm ready for whatever comes down the line, because right now is a good time. And if you notice that sort of a possibility, that's so rare, I really recommend you think about that. But irregardless, find someone that can help you grow, and ensure that within the next 2, 3, 4 months, you make such a tangible leap that you won't even believe how much you can grow and move fast. And when that happens, you sort of get a support system for life. I still talk regularly with clients I had years ago from time to time because, first of all, I'm invested. I care so much. I want to hear how they're doing. And I'm so happy to see whether the things we did together are still holding up, what their new challenges are, how they're moving forward. You get that sort of support system that really gives you the fastest boost possible. So if you feel like you want to learn and you want to improve and you want to do it right now and fast, I really recommend finding a coach that you vibe with and you feel matches what you want to achieve. Another thing that I personally really like is events and conferences. I know that since COVID, these are not as common as they used to be, but that just means that each one that you find that you feel is interesting is that much more valuable usually. So go to conferences, go to meetups. For example, if you're a startup, usually your VC will have some sorts of CTO roundtables from time to time. Attend them, even if it feels like, I don't like doing the mingling and everything. I highly recommend checking it out at least a few times, because listening to other people's experience can be very helpful, which is what you get during the talks. And the networking, again, can really help you ensure that you're not going it alone. You're going to meet other people in similar situations. When I do talks for CTO roundtables, I always try and ensure that people talk. It's not just me giving a talk, one-to-many broadcast, but we have these discussions because I believe that, once I'm out the door, I'm gone. But these people, once they learned more about each other and they start communicating, and that guy shared something and she shared about her challenges and discussions started happening, we started creating these relationships that can endure. And these things are magical. So find those conferences. If you need to, create a meetup locally. You can just decide to have a meetup for tech leaders in your area. No one's going to say no. If you've got an office, you've got, plenty of space. You don't need more than a dozen or a couple dozen people for it to be a really nice discussion, and you can get it going. If you're thinking about different subjects and templates and how you want to start one, really send me an email. I'll be happy to share some of the things I've done in the past, and you can just copy and paste those to your own if you want something that's a bit better than ChatGPT. Do that and you'll see how quickly having the real face-to-face interactions with people can help you feel so energized. Even for me as an introvert, as someone who prefers reading a bunch of books and not being in front of people, having these meetups from time to time is just so energizing and really helps me get out of my comfort zone and start talking to people, see what people are really going through, and not just through text or 2D videos and Zooms, but something that I can really connect to. And if you have a good conference around, or I actually think that flying for a good conference once a year is usually worth it. So many amazing interactions, you can meet amazing people, you can get a lot of good content very, very, very fast, and it can become the base for the other support systems we talked about, because some of these have good communities around. Some of these can help you meet more people. Some of these can help you meet the coach that you want, be it another CTO who's more experienced, etc. So go there and again, invest your time wisely. Decide how you're going to use those and start trying it out. Meetups usually cost nothing. It's just one evening, once a month, and you might as well do that as opposed to veg out in front of Netflix. So try those and see how you can improve and learn a lot. Next on our list, we have online content. And I really like reading articles, etc. But I find two types of things that really help me. One is podcasts, because podcasts, you can always find someone that you feel like you enjoy listening to, hopefully like my podcast, or you can find some really good interview shows that bring in very interesting people, like Refactoring in their podcast. I really enjoy those deep conversations with people with a wide range of experiences that you can learn from. Getting those can really help you pattern match about the things that people have gone through and what you can do yourself. So check out podcasts. We all have some dead time that we could use you could use podcasts to fill with. Whenever I do the dishes, whenever I'm out on a walk, I really enjoy listening to podcasts. Next, there are newsletters. Newsletters, I find if you curate those and you choose the ones that you're really excited to see in your inbox, that's a great sign. And you only need like a handful of those to get a bunch of very good content. Hopefully, for example, my newsletter is like that for you. You can find the link in the description again. But there are a bunch of different ones, especially recently there are some paid ones that I really enjoy. Again, Refactoring and Pragmatic Engineer, and all of these things can really help boost your thinking because you're getting some really high quality content regularly once a week, or things that aren't necessarily directly related to tech engineering management like Strategery, but these can really help you broaden your senses and learn and think. So find some newsletters you connect to. Again, a handful would be enough. Find some that are just like deep content, like those I mentioned, or some that curate content from others. And those can really help you make a regular connection with what's going in the outside world. And you trust them to find for you the things that are most interesting, as opposed to having to go through Hacker News every day, because that's like drinking from a water hose. And lastly, my sort of personal support system is to ensure that I put in time for deliberate practice. Because when you decide to do something and you invest in yourself and you're thinking, what am I doing? Let's review the past week. Let's have goals for the next week or the next quarter, etc. When you do that deliberate practice, you are helping yourself grow. And recently, for example, I got to talk to a few tech leaders from developing countries where it's almost impossible for them to get help from someone who is charging in dollars because, the exchange rate and everything. And I told them what I believe is incredibly helpful, and that's to decide to do some solo coaching in your deliberate practice that you do regularly. Think about what you're doing, learn, try and be contrarian to yourself, and try and think about the goals, how you perform, take notes religiously so that you can always check how you're doing. I don't think that LLMs are really coaches, but I do think that if you want someone to just see the summary of what you did and what you actually committed to and what you actually did, and tell you a bit about, feedback, and ask some provocative questions about it, it's better than nothing. And also, I think that solo coaching can really help you learn and ensure that even if you don't have a coach, and even if you don't have the time right now in the next month to find a meetup, you still make progress. And if you want to learn more about that and you enjoyed this so far, One of my recent articles is about solo coaching and how to get started in improving yourself, even if you don't have a coach, if you don't have the budget for those, how to solicit good feedback from those around you and ensure that you're growing even in times where resources are short. So if you're interested in that, check that out as well in the description. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you're going to make the decision to invest in yourself in 2025, find some good support systems, and ensure that you're growing and not burning out. You do not have to go it alone. Thank you.